go. Train time. Where go?
Gentlemen, this school is about combat. There are no points for second place.
This is the Never Down, Never Out podcast with your host, T.R. Matson.
Welcome back. T.R. Matson, Never Down, Never Out. We're getting close to the end of this stage, and I appreciate you tuning in. I felt this at the end of the last section. I felt like I was repeating myself a lot, and I hope that doesn't distract from what I'm trying to do here. But today we're going to talk about the delay of things, timelines of things, and being strong through that. Often they say, patience is a virtue. And I think it's one of the ones that I struggle with a lot because I do put a lot of effort in. I do work hard at the things that I go for, and I want them now. Because I feel like my energy that I put in warrants that. The other joke is, if you want to hear God laugh, just tell him your plan. Well, that applies to your timeline of things too, right? So we often look at our lives and we build this timeline on when things should happen based on who I believe I am and the situation and just how I've built it, how I've set my expectations for whatever it is that we're referring to, right? The short version of this is often, I'll ask my wife to, hey, do you mind, take a look at this, or what do you think of this project, or hey, I sent you something, just take a look at it. And then, when you get a chance, just take a look. And then 10 minutes later, I'm like, hey, did you take a look at that? And she's like, no, I'm in the middle of making dinner, or I'm trying to, get our daughter down for a nap, or awake from a nap, or get the kids ready for swim practice, or whatever it is. And I'm like, yeah, but I asked. And it's such an unrealistic way of thinking. And it's something that I struggle with, but I try to do better at. If it's something that in my mind is super important, then I go, hey, do you have a minute? Because I really want to talk about this. And I think she's kind of adapted to that too and goes like, okay. But if it's something that's like, hey, check out this car, she doesn't care. And it's fine, but I know that if I send it to her, I don't follow up right away. Because I've learned that delay in her response doesn't mean that she doesn't like something or want to do something. It's just that it's not her priority right now. And unfortunately, we live in this world where, we're the center of it often in our minds. And I tried to think of a good time in my life where, something was delayed and it was hard for me to not take it as a failure. And then I realized like the greatest one, the one that honestly is probably the reason why I'm any bit of a social media person. It's probably the reason that any of those books ever sold. It's probably the reason that you've ever heard about me. And that was the aircraft that I flew in the Navy. Because anybody who follows naval aviation knows it's really, really odd to hear somebody that flies the E-2 Hawkeye. It just is. There's not that many pilots that have flown it. And it's even more rare to listen to somebody or see somebody or read somebody's writings that switched from that community and still got to fly fighters. And I'm like, oh, and one of my buddies said it, kind of made me laugh. He goes, yeah, man, he's like, it's cool that you got to fly fighters and you check that box, but he's like, you're quote unquote famous because you flew the Hawkeye. And I'm like, and I never thought of it that way, but that didn't come without a huge delay in my career. Because when I joined the Navy, I wanted to be a fighter pilot. When I went to flight school, I wanted to be a fighter pilot. And I struggled with the air sickness, but I tried really hard and I had definite spots that I was strong at. Looking back, instructors, some probably realized my resilience just to keep going, because people would often quit because of the air sickness. And yet I still didn't get orders to Meridian or Kingsville to go fly fighters. Now, I eventually got there to fly the E2 as part of that training. But, in a lot of ways, it set me back 3 or 4 years in a way. But that doesn't mean that it was over. And I remember, Advanced Air Force Base, we got our drops and the commander asked me what I wanted in front of everybody. And I said, well, I wanted jets and then E2C2 and P3s and helos, I think, or helos and P3s. I can't remember the order. And he goes, there's no jet slots this week. So that's what it was. He goes, you're going to fly some sort of prop. We just don't know if it's going to be forward facing or upward facing. And it was the E2C. And I was excited because in my mind, I had accomplished primary flight training with that selection. And I was happy for that. Huge accomplishment, especially with all the air sickness stuff. But I remember going back to my room and just being like, dang. I mean, that night, I was just like, it's over. Like, I wanted to fly fighters so bad. And it's done. It's not going to happen now. And I sat there and I often do, they say, I guess, that if you're really comfortable with yourself, you could just sit in silence. And I sat there for a little bit alone in my room and I kind of thought about this and I go, well, wait a second. Like, there has to be another way. Like there just has to be. Like this can't be it. I mean, there's been aircraft that the Navy's stopped using and they didn't just fire all the pilots. They went somewhere else. I guess maybe there's a chance that I could still do this. A glimmer of hope. But I didn't really know, right? Because I'm still just a primary flight student. But what I did know is that I had to keep working just as hard, if not harder, from that moment on. Because if I was truly going to take this denial and just turn it into a delay in my career, in my goals, then I needed to have the right mindset that I wouldn't shut doors of opportunity down the line. Which means I had to study my butt off in T-44s and get good grades. I had to study my butt off in T-45s, even with the adversity I went through there, and get good grades. I had to get carrier qualified. I had to go on and learn either the E2 or the C2. And at that moment, I realized if I wanted to be a fighter pilot and I really wanted to be an LSO, the E2 is the best way to do it. So when the whole class gets together and they have to figure out who's going E2s and who's going C2s, which is the way we did it, I volunteered. I was the first one. Hey, I want to go E2s. Done. Like, to me, that was slam dunk done. That's going to set me up for the future. But I still had to get through the E2 syllabus, which was not an easy thing. That plane is a monster. Anybody who has flown it, I have the utmost respect for their flying ability. It's not an easy plane to fly. And then I went on to my fleet squadron, and this work ethic just had to continue. Like the dream had to be out there, but I couldn't walk around telling everybody about the dream. I couldn't walk into an E2 squadron and go, one day I want to fly Hornets, because they're gonna be like, dude, who's this guy? Like, yeah, we all do, bro. Like, thanks, cool story. Welcome to the Wallbangers. Like, you couldn't be that way. You had to focus, but then kind of build your wins on the side, and that came from everything from getting quals in the plane to being a good LSO, to getting my master's degree on the side, to being a good leader for my enlisted men and women, and be a good division officer or a good schedule officer. All of this was going on. I mean, this is 4-5 years of grind, all for a goal that, I mean, statistically speaking, was not impossible, but it sure wasn't much more than that. And then the opportunity came. And the opportunity came, and my CAG asked me if I had ever thought about flying jets, to which I answered sarcastically. And then after we were done with that, we talked about it. And I had the opportunity. Like, I was given the opportunity. I applied. So when the door of opportunity opened, I was ready with my bags packed. But mentally, I think the biggest thing that kept me going from the night at Vance Air Force Base, where I learned I was either going to go fly E2s or C2s, till the day in Kingsville, Texas, where I found out I got a transition to go fly Hornets, the biggest thing that kept me mentally strong was I had to be okay where I was. I had to enjoy and be proud of the work I was doing. So while things like being a good division officer helped me, I was also proud of it, because my job is to be a division officer and to be there for the men and women that I led and help them and develop them. While being an instructor, aircraft commander in the E2 helped me, I had to be proud that I did that extra step and didn't just stop it at aircraft commander. I wanted that extra qualification. While being an LSO certainly helped me, I was proud of the fact that I led a team of LSOs in combat operations on the Nimitz with an operational tempo that had not been seen, successfully and safely recovered all those aircraft. And while getting a master's degree definitely helped me, I had to be proud of the fact that I applied myself and my free time, what little of it there was while on 3 deployments in 3 years, to get the work done to do that degree. So the mindset of it, of doing all those things, while maybe they were there in the back of my mind for a goal down the line, I had to be proud of them in the moment. I had to give myself a little bit of grace in the moment to say, you know what, I'm doing this. Like, I'm doing this. I'm proud of myself. So today, when you're looking at it and, you get some sort of denial in something that you've been working on, don't think of it as a denial. Just, if it's something you really want, it's just a delay. Keep working. It's coming. It's just not coming on the timeline or in the manner that you thought it would come. Yeah, that's what I think. So I hope that makes sense. And I hope you're all having a great day. And I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate the love and support that I get. And I hope that the message that I'm putting out resonates with somebody and they can learn at the appropriate time for what it is they're going through. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow.
T.R. Matson is a 20-year Navy career combat veteran who flew the E-2C Hawkeye and FA-18C Hornet. He's the author of Treason Flight and Vengeance Flight. You can reach him at trmatson or trmatson.com. Thanks for listening to the Never Down, Never Out podcast.